Is nights like the night that we are bestowed upon tonight, where there's been countless legends of those who look up into the moonlight and then start to change into something monstrous. Something that maybe has always been in part of us. The beastly nature of man, to the point where it could be hard to distinguish between the two. Man and beast are now one. Legend also tells that he who is bitten by a werewolf and lives becomes a werewolf himself. And that is why today, my wonderful audience, we are going to be looking at the original The Wolfman from 1941.
Jenny Williams was killed?
Yes. Find something?
Animal tracks.
Whoever is bitten by a werewolf and lives becomes a werewolf himself.
Wolfman stars Lon Chaney Jr., Claude Rains, Warren Williams, Patrick Knowles, Bela Lugosi, and is directed by George Wagner. The plot of The Wolfman is one fateful night. Talbot escorts a beautiful woman to a local carnival, where a mysterious Romani fortune teller reveals the woman's future. Now, before I get into the rest of this review, I would like to say this was a first-time watch for me. I've never seen the original The Wolfman. I have seen, however, the original Dracula from 1931 with Bela Lugosi. I didn't realize Bela Lugosi also made appearances as other characters in the Universal Monsters series, so it was actually kind of, okay, I'll get into that in my review, but this was the first time watch for me, and I decided to review this because we got the new Wolfman remake that is, that's directed by Leigh Whannell and is produced by Blumhouse. I think it's already, by the time of recording this, I believe it's already out in theater. So I have yet to got the chance to go see it. I'm probably going to wait till it either hits streaming or until I get it on physical media. So, but I will be doing a review of the 2025 Wolfman remake for sure. And also too, because we're talking about the Wolfman, I'm also going to be watching and reviewing the 2010 remake of the Wolfman. That will be interesting to check out. But again, this is was a first time watch for me. And I guess this will be the first of the Universal Monster series reviews. This will be the first in my Universal Monsters franchise review series. So, I would have done Dracula, but no, because we got the Wolfman remake coming up, I decided to go with the Wolfman. So, and I do got some thoughts on this, so let's dive right in. For its time, I do like the cinematography for the most part. It's like very gothic, very atmospheric, and kind of what I'm trying to recreate here with this video. I thought this would be kind of a fun thing to do it all in black and white, and also have kind of do some lighting. I'm actually have some lighting in the background to kind of, and have some, just kind of doing some, just lighting black and white. and the black and white filter's on the camera, so I might do some additional stuff in post with this, but overall this does look pretty good in my opinion. Tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of this look? Would you actually like to see me do this for older movies, like older black and white movies? I even am doing it a certain aspect ratio. So this is my, I guess you could say this is my first review for the new year, for 2025, is the Wolfman, the original. I've just been really busy with stuff. I have tried to put out some stuff. The last 2 reviews I put out was for the film Barbarian and The Menu, both from 2022. So if you want to check those out, I will put those in the link below for you to check out. But yeah, this is like the first review period I'm doing for the new year 2025. So like I said, the atmosphere. I really dug the atmosphere in this movie. It's very like, again, and a lot of it has to do with the cinematography. It's like, especially for its time, first of all, I do like black and white movies, especially black and white horror films. I think sometimes it gives a creepy edge in that. And you could really play around with like the lighting and, you know, the shadows and everything like that. So I always appreciated black and white horror movies. I know not everybody does, but, you know, I mean, one of my favorite films to come out recent years was 2019's was The Lighthouse from 2019. It was an A24 horror movie that was directed by Robert Eggers. I love that movie. So yeah, so I have a theme for, like, I always have a soft spot for black and white horror movies and just black and white movies, period. So it is really, it's just good to see another black and white horror movie, and this one is classic. It's like, it's the Wolfman. So another positive is Lon Chaney Jr. actually. I think his performance is really good in this movie. He does come across, in a lot of ways, he comes across as very, you know, very kind, very sweet, very gentle, and that. So therefore, when he starts to become the Wolfman and everything like that, there's some sympathy there, and you do feel sorry for Lon Chaney Jr. in here. What's his character's name in here? Larry Talbot, you know? So you do feel sorry for Larry and everything, and have some sympathy towards him, so when he does become the Wolfman, and you can really tell in his performance. The other actors aren't bad. But you got Evelyn Ankers as Gwen, the love interest to Larry, and she's alright, she's not bad. Then you got Warren Williams, who plays the doctor, Dr. Laurie. He's not very in this very much, but he's good. And then you got, like, you know, you got frickin' Bela Lugosi in here, and a very, essentially, like, a cameo, basically. And that's of the character Bella. So, yeah, they use his actual name, basically. So, it was cool to see. I had no idea Bela Lugosi was in the Wolfman as a different character, so that was a nice surprise to see. So, overall, all the actors are pretty well with, again, in my opinion, the standout being Lon Chaney Jr. as Larry Talbot, aka the Wolfman. And yeah, and also too, I would like to say is for, again, the time period, like from the time period that this movie came out, 1941, so the 40s, so the early 1940s, the practical effects does look pretty good for its time. Outdated now for sure, but at the time, it looks pretty good. Also too, the look of the Wolfman, like the Wolfman makeup and that, is pretty good. Again, I like the look. Again, kind of dated now, especially when you compare with like films like American Werewolf in London or The Howling, you know, stuff like that. But again, very solid makeup and very solid look for the Wolfman. Also, the pacing of this film is pretty good too. It clocks in at 1 hour and 9 minutes, and it just flies by. So if you want to watch something and you are on a limited time, you know, like you got to go do something or something like that, but you still have time to watch a movie, I'd say probably pop on The Wolfman. It's very short movie, and it runs by very quickly. Although that could be a bit of an additional problem there, so I'll get into that into my negatives. Honestly, for me, that's really about it for my positives of The Wolfman. Now let's move on to my negatives. And I got some negatives. I mentioned that some of the practical effects are pretty good. There are some effects that, of course, have aged quite a bit, but that's kind of to be expected with older films in a lot of cases. There's some older movies where I'm like, oh, those effects are really good, or they still hold up, But this, in some cases, not really. Also, too, when I mentioned that the pacing in that was while it's a very fast pace, I do believe that personally it could have benefited from being a bit longer. Because, like I said, I thought all the actors did pretty well. Part of the problem is that it's mostly with some of the characters, there's not much time to really develop the characters and really, especially the side characters and that. I mean, I think they did a pretty good job with Larry Talbot, Lon Chaney Jr., and the Wolfman and that. I think they handled that pretty well. But with the side characters and the relationships between the side characters and Larry, it's for example, the love interest, Gwen, it's it was very quickly, it's oh, here's your love interest, da-da-da-da-da. Even then, it's it kind of starts off kind of off-putting, because, first of all, he's looking through a telescope, and then he's looking through, from his mansion and that, he sees in a window of a store, Gwen and that, and he's kind of spying on her, so that's kind of creepy. Also kind of creepy is that he kind of goes over there to, I don't know, I guess to try to ask her out or something like that, but the way he does it is very creepy. He's mentions about her earrings and that, he was asked, and everything like that, and it's just the way, I'll have to show you a clip of it. It's just very kind of creepy, and definitely would not fly by today, that's for sure. Also, too, not flying by, talk about not flying by today, he keeps on trying to ask her out and everything, and she keeps on saying no. I guess Larry here hadn't learned the term that no means no, I guess he kind of learned from Patrick Star, and that's from SpongeBob, and that's apparently no means yes, which it doesn't. So that definitely could have been handled a lot better. And even then, I never really got the sense of chemistry between Gwen and Larry. If they threw in if they had more chemistry on screen and everything like that, especially during certain moments that's supposed to be tragic, in regards of with her and Larry, I would have probably felt something more. But that's something that I have not seen the Wolfman remake from 2010, which so that's something I hope gets gets improved on with the 2010 remake, which I will again be covering. And honestly, for me, those are my only real critiques of the Wolfman. So let's move on to my rating. So with that said, I'm going to give the Wolfman a 4 out of 5 stars. Now, the reason I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars is because, even though some of my critiques were pretty negative, I still think overall this is a very solid film, especially because you gotta think about it from the time it came out. Even some of the things that I'm definitely wouldn't fly by today. It was a different time. It was a different time period, and thinking about all this stuff in regards of and even stuff like the effects, again, different time period, different, all that different stuff. And for a film to come out in early 40s, 1941 to be exact, this one's solid. Now, I personally prefer the original Dracula from 1931 with Bela Lugosi. I personally prefer that over this one if I had to pick. I've always seen those two, so at some point I will continue on with the Universal Monster series, and you know, like, I'll get into the sequels and the other characters like the Mummy, Frankenstein, you know, just all those movies, and then even do like the remakes, like the remake of the Wolfman, the remake of like the 2025 remake of the Wolfman, stuff like that. So yeah, but overall, really solid flick. I would actually recommend to check it out, especially if you love older movies. If you love monster movies, definitely check this out. It's streaming on Peacock right now, and also it's streaming on Shudder, so if you have Shudder or Peacock, it's on there. So that's it for this video. If you like this video, be sure to hit the like button, and if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.